All right, I have officially made it to Cape Hatteras. This is the National Seashore Visitor Center, also the Lighthouse. But let me show you something about the Lighthouse that's a little different than usual. So as you can see, the Lighthouse is covered in scaffolding. It should normally be black and white striped, however, it's stripped of that paint. And you know, it's kind of sad to not see it in its normal state, but that's okay because that means it's going to be preserved for generations to come. So we're going to go check out the museum. There's a gift shop. We're not really going to go in there. I already got my stamp and everything else. So we'll go and check out the museum, see what they got there. Alrighty, so a lot of construction going on, and that's okay. As I said, they're rehabbing everything, making everything all pretty. So we got to take a walk through the cage to get to the museum. So here's another look at the lighthouse as it's being worked on. This takes us to the, I believe, keeper's house, where the lighthouse keeper would have lived. Now typically there would also be a climb that you could do to go to the top of the lighthouse and see the view of the Outer Banks from there. But as it's being fixed up and renovated, unfortunately that's not an option. And the museum is back over here. So I head into the museum here. So this is some of the artifacts from a lot of the shipwrecks that have occurred along the Outer Banks. From shifting shoals, currents, and storms that happen here. A Blue Jackets manual, I know about that. And a binnacle, which is where the compass of a ship lives. I'm gonna go upstairs first. I don't need to watch my head because I am a short fella. Little office. Talk about nature. I guess moving, making roads and making plank roads and such, and how the houses and such can get washed away. Fishing. Flight. And then Cape Hatteras during various wars between the Union, World War I, and World War II. During World War II, there were a lot of U-boats that were positioned just off of the coast. So a lot of the shipwrecks that occurred just off the coast and the Capes, or the Outer Banks, was because of U-boats, 1942. Here's some artifacts from that. This talks about the life-saving station that was here as well. All right, so that was the lightkeeper's house in the museum there. One interesting thing that I didn't know that they talk about in there is the fact that they moved the lighthouse. This lighthouse was moved from a little bit farther down the way to where it is today. So when they moved it, I'm sure it was a monumentous effort. And they do have artifacts of that in the keeper's house, the move and the information about the move. And they do have a movie, which I skipped over because I don't really like to sit through movies at museums. about how they moved the lighthouse itself. Now, the reason why I took the trek down here to Cape Hatteras was not because of the lighthouse. A lot of people come here for the lighthouse. I'm actually very interested in weather. It's actually what I do for a living. And Cape Hatteras and Hatteras Island and all that is very, very special because the Labrador and the Gulf Stream come together, and that cold and warm mix together. And anytime low pressure happens, explosive cyclogenesis occurs here. You know about the nor'easter that happened earlier last year that took out a lot of houses here on the island. So I came here because it's really interesting to me to see where that kind of happens and where nature does its thing. And I'm going to go check out the National Weather Service's old house or station that is here on Hatteras. All right, before we head to the weather station, I'm going to take a moment to go check out the shore and the dunes over by the ocean and take you along. So let's go for a little walk. All right, so walking past all this, you're probably wondering what is all this like debris. That is from what I best understand, the last nor'easter that came through here. And unfortunately, the debris from the houses and such that washed up on the shore after they were destroyed. So from what I best understand, that's what all this debris is. So kind of sad. But it does show and kind of give you a reality check of how powerful nature can be. So this here shows why they decided to move the lighthouse. The shoreline is always kind of getting pushed back. So when it was first built, the lighthouse was 1,500 feet away from the ocean, and by 1970 it was only 120 feet away. So this here, if we look through this window right here, shows us the original location of where the lighthouse used to be before it was taken down this path and moved to where it is now. I'm going to head down to the beach, check that out. All right, now that I've enjoyed a little bit of the ocean, enjoyed that salty air, I think it's time to head to the weather station.